How y'all doing today? It's your boy EatRightGuy, and I'm back with another video. And for this video, I will be responding to a comment that was left in one of my previous videos. So the comment goes, can you make a video about being a dietitian as a vegan? I personally have a huge problem having to recommend dairy or eggs to patients as an ethical vegan. How do you proceed? Do you try to make them eliminate meat and fish? Do you make them eat more fruits, whole grains and veggies? Do you tell them to eat plant-based and take B12 supplements? I'm asking because me becoming a dietitian strongly depends on how much authority I have and whether I have to recommend meat and dairy. Also, what type of dietitian would you recommend becoming to get people to eat plant-based? Where do you have the most authority? Thanks so much for your videos. You're so helpful and sympathetic, and I love to get an answer. All right, so thank you for posting that comment. I really appreciate that. And those are good questions to ask. So those who don't know, I'm currently a whole plant-based follower or vegan. I've been doing this for 3 years now. And I relate to all those questions that you just asked me, because when I first became vegan, I felt the same way, especially at work. I felt like I had been taught the wrong things in school and that I was given the wrong information to people about, the best dietary approaches to just live a long and healthy life. But as the years have gone by, my stance has kind of changed. So you kind of asked, because you're an ethical vegan, do I have to recommend meat and fish and things like that? Well, currently I work as a renal dietitian at a dialysis clinic. And if you don't know about these type of patients, they have very high protein needs, but at the same time, their needs for phosphorus and potassium are low. And pretty much like the company I work for, all their handouts, they push protein, and they figure the best protein sources are meats, fish, dairy, eggs, chicken, things like that. And the problem with like plant-based proteins is that even though like legumes, things like that, and soy are higher in protein, these foods are also higher in natural phosphorus as well as potassium. And there's like almost no research on plant-based diets and end-stage renal disease, and if that diet is actually beneficial, especially in terms of blood protein or albumin levels. So I personally think that, like, God forbid, if I was on dialysis, I think I could keep my labs in a normal range and follow all the recommendations on a plant-based diet. But a lot of my patients aren't really knowledgeable about nutrition, and they don't do a really good job of following, the renal diet recommendations as it already is. So, I don't know, it's kind of hard to like implement a plant-based diet for this population without having any kind of like research to back up what I think can be done. And also, like, the population I work with, none of these people are gonna go vegan. They all eat meat. They're meat eaters. I live in South Louisiana, I work in inner city Baton Rouge, and they're not going to eat plant-based diets. If I push, the more I push, I think that'll be making them go further away from that dietary approach. But I do emphasize them eating more fruits and vegetables, especially like the ones that are appropriate, lower in potassium. But as I said, when it comes to the meat thing, since they're not gonna give up meat, to me, I feel like it's just more beneficial for me to educate them on better ways to prepare the meats, and and some of the meats to stay away from that are not as healthy. So like I say, when I first went vegan, I felt how you felt, especially working as a renal dietitian. I thought about quitting my job because like my company pushes meat. All the doctors push meat to improve their protein status. But you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I don't know what's the best route to go for this, for these patients, because there's no research. And when you asked about the authority, I think as dietitians, we have the authority to advocate plant-based diets. But at the same time, you have to know your population. And also you have to realize that not all dietitians are gonna agree with being vegan. You know what I'm saying? Most dietitians aren't vegan. And you know what I'm saying, veganism is just now getting the support of even like the Academy in Nutrition and Dietetics. You got to understand, the primary sponsor for the Academy in Nutrition and Dietetics is the National Dairy Council. So when it comes to the dietary guidelines that are released every 5 years, I highly doubt that those milk recommendations, what is it, like 3 to 4 servings a day, I don't think that's going anywhere because of, you know what I'm saying, politics. But in your case, you know what I'm saying, I think I wouldn't let this discourage you from being a dietitian. I think the route that you can go in is either doing community nutrition, to where like if you had a job to where you can go to like different health fairs or different schools and educate people on eating healthier, and then you can focus on like plant-based foods and do food demonstrations that don't have any meat. Or you can just start your own private practice. You can create your own website, YouTube channel, get really active on social media like I do. And you know what I'm saying, I can, with that, when you have your own stuff, I can put out whatever I want. And me following a plant-based lifestyle, that's one of the reasons why I started my website. I transitioned my Instagram to just focusing on whole plant-based foods, and I can put out whatever information I want. Like if you look on my website, on my blogs, all my blogs in the nutrition section, in the nutrition section are based on plant-based eating. In terms of like clinical, even though I feel like as a clinical dietitian, you'll get the most experience and become a well-rounded dietitian, I don't think that you would ultimately be happy in a clinical position, because like I said earlier, most of your dietitians that you're gonna work with are not gonna follow plant-based diets or be vegan. And any diet that's in the hospital, whether it be a cardiac diet, diabetic diet, renal diet, all that stuff is gonna have meat on it. You know what I'm saying? I highly doubt there's a hospital that has a plant-based diet. And you got to understand, it's just kind of economics. Most people are not going to give up meat. So if a hospital wants to be profitable and they want their patients to be happy, they have to include meat on all their diets, pretty much all their oral diets. And so, you know what I'm saying, like I said, I wouldn't let this discourage you. I know how you feel, you know what I'm saying, if you had to advocate for like meat and fish and stuff, you'll probably feel like a sellout. To be honest with you, you can probably consider me a sellout, because you know what I'm saying, even though I'm a plant-based vegan, some of my dialysis patients, I don't tell them to eliminate meat because I know that they're not, and so I just kind of tell them better ways to prepare it. So hopefully this answered your question. Y'all have a nice day. And if you're a nutrition student or a dietetic intern and you're concerned about passing the RD exam, feel free to join my Facebook group, RD Exam Prep, which will be down in the description. And this is where you can be part of a community that will answer any questions that you may have, as well as I provided free study guides, notes, and practice exams. And while you're at it, follow me on Instagram at EatRightGuy, and visit my website, EatRightGuy.com, where I post weekly blogs on nutrition and dietetics related topics.